All right, welcome. Here is our first actual Athens Film Fest creator interview. I'm here with Christopher Kelly, director and writer of Bishop's Day. Christopher, how are you doing today?
Excellent. It's a great, beautiful day here in Georgia. Finally. I mean, I guess it's going to rain eventually, right? Because it is summertime and, eventually there's going to be that 2 hour gap where it looks like the gates of hell have opened. And then everybody's going to be like, well, did it rain today? I don't know.
Amen to that. Yeah, it's beautiful today. On a dark note, no, I'm kidding. But no,
I
no.
had to euthanize my dog, actually. It just,
So
woo.
talking about horror is all. Going from a beautiful day. What drew you to horror?
I I've always loved horror films. It's kind of hard where to pinpoint it, but I like to think of it around the time when I was in second grade or first grade. Whenever my uncle was watching my brothers and I, this would have been in 1991, not 92, and he took us to Blockbuster and said, "Rent whatever y'all want." And of course, he grabbed Terminator 2 because that was like the hot ticket film of the time. And then I believe it was my brother got Freddy's Dead. And I didn't really know Freddy Krueger at the time. I had seen posters for it, especially the Dream Child. Everybody who remembers that's they had these gigantic cutouts for the Dream Child, and it was like Freddy Krueger with a burned stroller, and he's like has his claw, and he's like shh. And I remember that distinctly as a kid growing up, and I was always tickled by it, but I never knew who that was. And then we watched Freddy's Dead, and I was like, I thought it was hilarious as a kid, and at the same time scary. And I thought that was just such an intriguing thing. Like, you can do that, and
Yeah.
like people can be entertained while watching this too. Wow, that's crazy. Of course, I was like what 7 or whatever. I was like 7 years old, so it was like at that point, what do you really know other than I hope I don't get picked last in kickball? But I just that was like I guess that would probably be the journey. I mean, I always loved the front covers, especially when I would go to the video store and look at them. The one I distinctly remember the most was Night of the Demons, and I just loved that look of that front cover of like Angela, who's like all dressed out in like a demon bride, and she has the skull lollipop. And I always loved that. So I thankfully got to interview Joe Augustine, who wrote that movie, for my podcast,
Oh, yeah.
and I got to tell him that, and he was like, "Well, thanks, man."
Oh
So
my
yeah,
gosh.
I guess you could say it kind of started there. I've always been a big fan, though. I mean, it's kind of hard not to. I don't know, just something grabbed you naturally, and I just thought it was really cool and intriguing. And then I always thought they were fun too, because it's like there's no way in crap, Jason Voorhees would ever exist.
Mhm.
Obviously. I mean, the human version of him would, obviously, but then once you die, that's it. You're not coming back. It's like that's.
Yeah.
I mean, and then of course, the first one makes logical sense where it's like the mother exacts her revenge, but then like part two comes around and you're like, so Jason's a teenager now and he's killing people with a bag on his head. All right. And then you're like, part three, it's like he's actually a full grown adult man who's 40 years old and he's been working out. Like, how does that work? You're like, how does it make any sense? Like, if you watch the logistics of the movies, you're like, this doesn't make any sense at all. But whatever, they're fun, right? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Um, so I just I've always wanted to make my own, and that's how Bishop's Day kind of came about.
Mm.
It was around the writer strike. I do actually work in the film industry,
Right.
and the writer strike kind of leveled all of us.
Mm.
I'm part of the assistant directors. So if no one's working, nobody's working. So we
Right.
just had to find other things to do, and I kind of took that as a sign to be like, well, maybe I'll write my own now. And then I compiled it. So I pulled apart about 250 slasher films,
Oh, wow.
most of them I own, and I watched them and I studied them for names, situations, kills, and the ones that people kind of stand out. Like, why do you remember Michael Myers, but you don't remember Madman Mars? Like, why are we attracted to these characters and not? So I just kind of did what AI does, and I just kind of did it the old-fashioned way, as we would say,
Mm.
and watched them, and then kind of put it together, and then just saw what worked. If this worked, this. I mean, the script went through about a bajillion different versions of it. Anybody who says, "Oh, this is the first thing I wrote and that was it," they're lying. I mean, like I read that interview with Brian Bertino. No offense, but I read the interview with Brian Bertino talking about The Strangers, and I was like, "Man, get out of here! You did not write that thing first. I saw the French movie that you ripped off. Stop talking." And but anyways, that's a whole nother topic. But you go through about like 100 different versions before you're like, "Oh, okay, barbershop." And then that's it. And then like you go from there. And then it's like, okay, so then what draws this? Like, I mean, hey, the script of Bishop's Day, the feature script of it was, I went through about 100 different rewrites and I found one version that I liked. And then I pitched that to my friend whose wife is a producer, and he said it sucked. And then
Oh
he
gosh.
was like, well, if you change all of this, so I basically have a script. He's like, if you change all of this, we can probably do something with it. I'm like, man, you're talking about like 75% of my script. And he's like, well, more like 80, but
Oh god.
you know, like,
I mean, at least they sugarcoated it. Yeah.
I mean, it's just being honest. So then we
Yeah.
went through a bajillion different rewrites, and then I eventually sent it out to my friends, and everybody hated it. Everyone said that they didn't like the script at all. I got so much negative feedback. I got one person who said, I think we could do something with this. And that was Jim Resnick, who's the producer on this, on Bishop's Day, the short,
Mm-hmm.
which is essentially the opening to the feature script that I wrote. We just kind of reworked it because it's his and his business partner's warehouse. They own Killer Clown Canvas based on the name of Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, lovely.
And yeah, they're big time fans. And they said, why don't we shoot this at the warehouse? Not only that, but if we needed any grip gear, it was right there because it's a grip warehouse. So we did. And we rehearsed it about 5 times. I got that idea from, I can't pronounce his name, but he did One Cut of the Dead, the Japanese horror film.
Right.
Have you seen it?
I just went to Japan for study abroad, so I've seen the posters.
Oh, so good. I love that movie. It's so good. Like I tell everybody, if you watch One Cut of the Dead, that movie will inspire you to do anything. And I mean anything.
Really.
And if you watch that and you're not inspired, I don't know what's wrong with you. Like I would go to the doctor, get checked out, make sure you're okay. Because that movie is so inspiring to do anything. And I sent that to a friend of mine he's an aspiring filmmaker as well. And he was watching it and he was like, are you sure this movie that takes place in a bomb shelter is now we're talking about the same movie, right? He's like he's watching it and he was just like texting me the whole time. He's like, dude, this movie's stupid. Like, why would you send this to me? And he's like, doesn't make any sense. And then when the movie ends, then you're like, oh, I don't want to spoil it for anybody because when you watch it, like your brain just goes, whoa.
Yeah. Oh my
And it
God.
makes you feel like everything you've ever wanted to do. You're like, if you wanted to open up a burger chain or something, you're going to be like, wow, this movie actually made me want to do that. So I got his directing style. I cannot remember his name, but I took his directing style because they rehearsed the hell out of that movie. They rehearsed that, I want to say, for like a month straight, and then they shot it. And I was like, oh, that way they could just be in and out. And when you watch the movie, you'll understand why they did that. So I got that idea from him. So we rehearsed it. That way we could just shoot this thing really quick and I don't waste anybody's time. And then we did the whole thing in about 12 hours, I want to say.
Wow.
Yeah, we set it up. All of it was done at Killer Clown Grip. We trashed the place. All the stuff that's at the actual business is on the other side. So if you watch the movie Bishop's Day, everything that's on the other side of the wall where a guy and girl are trying to hook up, that's all their business stuff. And we basically just took newspapers that we got at a recycling center and just put them on the windows.
Yeah. It had this beautiful light on it too.
Thank you. That's 2 lights that we had. Both of them we used for the one shot, and we pulled them and put them on the outside of the other shot, outside of the window.
Lovely, lovely. Well,
Thank you.
I thank you for giving me so much with that too. But it sounds like you have such a love for film and horror in particular, and that really has pushed you through a lot of like pushback, it feels like you've been getting. What it sounds like.
Oh, that's just life in general. Everything you do, everybody's going to hate it, no matter what. They're just going to find something that, oh, this has been done 100 times. Why do you want another slasher movie? We got Sweeney Todd, which, by the way, Sweeney Todd is not a slasher film. It is a musical, and it was the only time it was classified as a slasher was in 2007. Now, you can go back to 1970, whenever it was first called a slasher kind of movie or script. And that was because the writer of that was trying to cash in on the craze of the slashers that was coming out because of Peeping Tom in the 1960s. That's a whole nother story, though.
All good, all good. I was curious though, you had a lot of really interesting practical effects going on in this. I mean, I saw that tongue. I was like, oh my God. You know,
Well,
I
thank
mean,
you.
yeah, we love practical effects here. I mean, I think when I watched The Thing for the first time a few years ago, because I grew up only really seeing a lot of CGI kind of movies, I think nowadays, or if there was something cool, it's animated. So when you see something like very visceral like that, you go, "Oh, there was some effort put in here. There was some planning to get that reaction out of me, like naturally, like that just happened in front of my face." So what was the
Yeah.
process of like putting those together?
Well, the tongue bit, we were deciding on whether it would be cheaper to get a real cow's tongue, or if we would have to get maybe like a piece of steak, and then we could cook it for everybody later on, and then we would just cut it.
Yeah.
I found that the cheapest way to do it is to go on Amazon, and there's a factory in China that was making fake tongues. So you could get Gene Simmons sized tongues, or you could get regular tongues, 10 for 10. And we tried. We what we did was I got the Gene Simmons tongues in the mail, and I was like, it was ludicrous. It was like the size of your arm, and they're like, this looks stupid. A butcher shop was going to charge us, I think, 50, and I was like, because cow's tongue is a real delicacy, so it's like I didn't know that, but I was like, I mean, they throw out everything else. You're like, well, why not the tongue? He's like, well, because in certain parts of the world, the cow's tongue, and I was like, what? Okay, man, you give me a headache. So I was like, okay, cool. So I just went on Amazon, 10 for 10. I was like, bam, sold. So I handed those out as gifts too. So like when we were done, I was like, coming at you. Uh,
I was honestly thinking that in the back of my mind, like that's an interesting, parting gift.
yeah. Thank you. I still have one of them that I keep in my book bag with me, but they're just regular old cheap tongues from China. They're basically, it's just like a little gooey thing, like made out of rubber, and it feels weird, which is great. So it gives you that nice little effect, like whenever he like wiggles it, and that we just kind of took a little bit of fake blood that Salem had made. Salem, she's the one who did the throat cut gag,
Wow.
and she's a real special effects makeup artist. She does a wonderful job.
That's
She was a
good.
friend of a friend. My friend Jonathan Williams, I knew him through a television show that I did with him. I knew he knew people in the set deck world. He was a set deck artist. I knew that he knew people in the special effects makeup world, and I was like, "Could you just put the word out?" And he was like, "Yeah, here's my friend Salem. She said she'll do it as long as you just pay for everything." And I was like, "Great." And she charged me, it was like, because she knows what she's doing, so she went and she did like minimal research. It was like within 30 minutes because she knew exactly what to get as
Wow.
far as like getting a bandage and how to get it going and whatnot. It was $100 for everything
Okay.
because she already had it part of her kit, and essentially it was just like a tube that's ran up through, which is the reason why Guy's wearing a long sleeve shirt. So you have to run the tube up through there and through the back, and then that way whenever you have cut the throat, unless you were going to actually cut it, which I didn't want to do.
No.
We had it already opened, and then it just kind of, we did that shot twice. The first time it didn't go off until much later, and we were sitting there. You could, if you, well, obviously we cut all the audio out so that way you could have Guy doing his gurgling, which we did in ADR,
Wow.
and you just hear me being like, come on, more and more, and Salem being like, I'm trying, and she's like pumping it, and then all of a sudden it just went, and we were like, son of a gun. It's like,
It had,
well,
it had a cool effect. I mean, just like the all at once.
it did the first time, and then we had to the second time is whenever we did it again, and then we were like, how about like you don't move until after it comes out, and then it started coming out, and then that's whenever it worked, and that's whenever I was like, touch your neck, and he's like,
Yeah.
mhm. Yeah. So that's how it worked, and then it was like, all right, we only had 3 shirts, so I think we're good. So,
Amazing. Oh my God.
yeah.
What a fun set. I think horror sets are just like you're making something so visceral and, it's supposed to get such a, crazy reaction from people, but on set you don't think about how like there's a box of 10 tongues in the back.
Yeah. And there's like a guy chain smoking Marlboros like 5 feet to the right, being like, oh man, I got to get up at 4 a.m. tomorrow. My wife's going to hate me. Ugh.
And you're in the crazy clown warehouse of all places too.
Yeah. Whereas because he's a professional motorcyclist too. So it's like he has motorcycles and all kinds of stuff. All that was blacked out. So we literally just, for the scene, which is his barber shop, we just took 2 black canvas and then sectioned it off like that. So that way you wouldn't be able to see what it looks like. See? So you would just be
Yeah.
working like right here. So it was just right there. And it's this gigantic warehouse. It's not small by any means. It's just that part was sectioned off.
Mm.
All the set deck that we had, the big boxes of stuff that we used to cover up the I don't know what you call it, but like where the 2 canvases meet.
Yeah.
That way you wouldn't notice it. That's the toys that they also sell. They're also toy salesmen, and they put that one right there so you wouldn't notice it, right beside Bishop's table, and the other one was on the other side because that's where Salem was putting together the rig,
Wow.
and you would never notice it because that's
Yeah.
how we did it. All
Yeah.
the set deck that was there strewn about was from real barbershops. I just went to every barbershop. I live in Douglasville.
Mm.
So in Douglas County, I went to almost every barbershop in the area. And then we shot it in Fayette County. So I went to a bunch of them in Fayette County, and I just went into all of them, and just told them what I was doing and asked them if they had any stuff they were throwing out. And I was like, what, if it's all rusted, broken, whatever, that's perfect because it's supposed to be abandoned. And they just handed me everything. Like this one guy just said, all right, well, come to the back of my shop real quick. I got a bunch of crap you can take. And I was like, I hit the mother load. It was like a bunch of broken chairs. And I was like, that's perfect. And he's like, the guy was like, are you serious? And I was like, the more messed up, the better. And the guy was like, well, go get your truck. Come on, get it. And I was like, all right, fine. So, and then all the other stuff was, I found a few things off of eBay because I kind of looked up just like old vintage barbershop gear. And of course, most of it's all useless. Like the clippers that he uses to kill Bishop uses to kill Guy.
Yeah.
That was completely useless. You couldn't even cut butter with them. I mean, they were nothing. And like we even had to like we put a little bit of effect on it, but it was like when you hit it, it was like so we put a little bit of effect on it, but for the most part, they were completely useless. But all that stuff was, I mean, that was either given to me from barbershops or I found it for very, very, very cheap on eBay for like maybe $1 each.
Wow.
And it was very minimal. All the bottles that we have there, like the shot where like, I don't remember the last time you've seen the movie, but like the shot of the bottle and then you see the blood coming down.
Yes.
Those were all just liquor bottles when I went to the recycling center and I just climbed into the glass recycling area and just started pulling out ones because whenever I went to the various barbershops, I found there was a lot of repurposed liquor bottles.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, well, why don't I just go there and then you can just boil the bottle so that way there's no germs or anything. And then you can peel off the labels and then slap your own label on it. And then there you go. No one knows the difference. And it looks cool.
Yeah.
And then all those stickers that we used for the Bishop's Barbershop, I just wanted about 10 of them because for the different bottles.
Right.
And you can buy them in increments of 100.
Oh, wow.
So I got a ton of these stickers like lying around. So I just started giving them out to people left and right.
With the tongues.
With the tongues. And I'm like, if you want any bottles too, I got plenty of them.
Okay.
And we just, all the other stuff just lying around was just trash, really. Their bottles I got from the recycling center. The cans of stuff that were lying around were from, dinner from me and my wife and our son. Whenever we'd eat, I just clean out the can and then boom, throw it in the shop.
There we go.
There's
Wow.
Amazon boxes, the pizza boxes that were on the wall that we spray painted. That was just pizza from whenever we were eating when we were putting the other thing together. Then I was like, well, what do we do with this? And it was like, wham, put it right on the wall. There we go, set deck.
Amazing. Oh my gosh, how industrious.
That's it. And then
Yeah.
no one notices because you're not supposed to notice it. And it just kind of adds to the aesthetic of it's an abandoned place, you know.
Yeah.
It's not meant to look nice. I mean, that way your brain just kind of subconsciously just thinks that, oh, this is a dump, you know, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting mix of aesthetics, definitely with like the I mean also why barbershops? Like do you have a traumatic experience with them or
No, not at all. I love barbershops. That's actually, I think they're so beautiful. I love the smell of a barbershop too.
yeah.
I picked that literally because after doing all my research of going through all the different slasher films, I found that there was no barbershop slasher, which is interesting because that's almost like the most vulnerable spot you would be, you
Yeah.
know, I mean, there, of course, Final Destination, there is the whole thing with the girl in the beauty salon and the tanning salon and everything. That one's obvious, but there's no actual barbershop slasher. And I just thought that was interesting. And so I just took that, and I love 1950s movies and 1950s music and everything. So I would just kind of combine the two and like, well, why not? And then with the song at the end of the credits, "Evil" by the Coffin Shakers. Uh, they're a rockabilly or gothabilly band from Finland, and when I just sent them a message off of their website, and the guy who did it, Rob Coffin Shaker, was like, I think he was more thrilled that somebody outside of Finland knew them, and was like, "Oh yeah, you want to use it for your movie? Go right ahead." So I was like, "All right, fine." There we go.
How cool, how cool. Okay, well, as we're wrapping up a little bit here, thank you so much for this behind the scenes look at such an interesting movie.
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
mean, it was so fun. You're right, there aren't a lot of like barbershop slasher movies. Um,
Yeah. If you know of one, man, just shoot it out. I mean, I didn't see it. I did a lot of research. I saw a lot of bad movies, man. And I mean, I didn't come across it. Like, I mean, The Final Terror. Does anyone else know that one? I mean, I'm just saying. Like,
Goodness. Yeah, no, you did your research, you had your labors of love and boxes of tongues and stickers and it shows. And the product shows. For people at home or people after the film festival, what are some films that you could say, like maybe for like the Letterboxd for, that you would recommend warming up to seeing Bishop's Day or afterwards if they want to see more like it? Some
oh,
recommendations you might have.
oh man, that is a great one. If you give me a second, I actually have a list.
Yeah, just would
So
have that reference.
right off the bat, I gotta say The Burning.
Oh,
Then that was the movie that was the summer camp slasher film that Tom Savini had done after Friday the 13th. So after Friday the 13th, we all know that there was a mad dash for slasher films. Well, actually, it kind of started with the movie Halloween, but that was like the craze of the holiday themed slasher films. But The Burning came out right after Friday the 13th because that was a massive success. And there was a mad dash to make anything in a summer camp and a slasher film. So then immediately after Friday the 13th, they're going to make Friday the 13th Part 2. And of course, who else are they going to use because of that awesome kill with Kevin Bacon with the arrow through the throat? Tom Savini. So he was approached with the idea of doing Friday the 13th Part 2. And he said, "Who's the killer?" And they said, "Jason Voorhees." And he goes, "That doesn't make any sense." So no, he turned it down. And instead, he did The Burning, which is with the story of Cropsey, which is a great slasher character, and he's a man who works as a janitor at the summer camp, and as a prank the kids set him on fire
oh my.
by accident. They put like a flaming skull in his bed, and then he wakes up and then he sets himself on fire, comes back years later to kill the the students, that the people that are there now at the summer camp. And it is horrific and violent as all get out. And I love that movie a lot. It's so ridiculous because the concept doesn't make a lot of sense. And you're just like, so they, wait, what? Huh? But I love that one a lot. That's, Cropsey's going to be up there. Amsterdam. I'm going to say that one as well. That's kind of like a combination. Amsterdam is one of the very few slasher films that has its own song. The song is Amsterdam, and the theme is Amsterdam, Amsterdam,
Oh
Amsterdam.
wow.
And they combined basically James Bond with a slasher.
What a mix.
Doesn't work, Well, it's been 40 something years and they just now got greenlit Amsterdam 2. So
Oh,
you be the decider on that. There's a great speedboat chase, including a slash and kill throughout the canals in Italy. It's the most bizarre thing you've ever seen in your life. Amsterdam. That's always been up there as being one of my favorites because it's such a bizarre, strange one.
There's a bit of
Um,
bizarreness inherent in horror, though, so you have to lean into it sometimes.
I definitely agree with that. Like Mountaintop Motel Massacre or Terrorist Train. Intruder, actually, I think, Intruder, I'm going to say that's going to be my next one. Intruder was a Scott Spiegel movie. It's basically a slasher in a convenience store, or sorry, in a grocery store. And a group of people who work at the grocery store are locked in and they're being terrorized by a character that outside, and then he eventually makes his way inside. You have to figure out who's doing it and why. It's not bad. It's up there with being like, it shouldn't be as good as it actually is. So whenever you see it, it's like, huh, okay. Of course, Scott Spiegel, we all know from the Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 and everything. And for the last one, I'm just going to go ridiculous, and I will say The Carpenter.
Oh.
That's right. The Canadian exploitation or Canucksploitation film from the 1980s, starring, was it Wings Hauser? I'm going to say Wings Hauser. I don't want to be wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure it's Wings Hauser. Sadly, just passed away. One of the great Canadian exploitation actors of our time. If I just said what it is, I guarantee you're thinking it. Yes, it is a slasher film involving a carpenter, and
Okay,
that's it. You can
I would have.
go to where your mind goes on that one, and that's exactly where the movie goes. The front cover is as ridiculous as you would think. I think he's holding, I think it's a drill, and he's like, you know,
Oh my God.
it's so silly. There's a bunch of them like that as well, like Doom Asylum, but I'll only give 7 movies, so there you go.
No, well, thank you so much for those recommendations and related films for people to see after and before Bishop's Day. Um,
Yeah. And, with Bishop's Day, I really just think that, it's just everybody just wants to go have fun. And that's it. At the end of the day, we all just want to smile. We all want to laugh. We all just want to have something to be like, you know what? I had a good day today. And that's what I really want to do with Bishop's Day. When you watch it, to be like, huh, that felt okay. Like, I mean, like it wasn't, obviously I'm not going to like make everybody laugh, but the idea is that when you watch it, you're just kind of like, oh, that was kind of cool. I forgot about my worries for a minute. And that's it. That's what I think. Everybody just wants to do that with their movies. It's just kind of like, maybe we should just kind of have fun.
Amen to that. Absolutely. Well, Christopher, where can people find you and more about your work?
I'm glad you asked before I could say it 4 more times. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, my podcast is called Classic American Movies. I just released a new episode today. I had Ukrainian film critic and author David Klimov on my podcast, and we talked about our favorite Carol Crow and Cannon movies. If you don't know what those are, I encourage you to look those up immediately, and you'll have the time of your life. That's where Chuck Norris got his start in the early 80s. Sylvester Stallone made a roaring comeback in the 80s with all these over-the-top, ridiculous films that are just, I mean, it's just like you got like 1,000 explosions and a guy's getting kicked across the face at the same time. And you're like, these are so stupid. But they made millions and millions and millions in the 1980s. And anybody who was a child growing up in the 1980s, we all know them. We've all seen them. Every time you see them, I'm like, Over the Top is one of the best examples, which is a movie about child custody and arm wrestling. What movie? Where are you ever going to find a movie that's ridiculous? I mean, I love it, but
Or a Venn diagram.
oh, and you'll never see them connected. Like, I got a great idea: Kramer versus Kramer and arm wrestling. Like, what? That sounds terrible. Like, and it made millions.
Oh my
Anyways,
goodness.
I love that ridiculous stuff. So, anyways, I had him on my podcast. We talked about our favorite movies. Classic American Movies is the name of the podcast. You can find it on Instagram as Classic American Movies. I do movie reviews, written reviews. I do mini podcasts where I just kind of tell my thoughts on movies, on a movie that's in the theaters or just now streaming. And I also do in-depth research and interviews with people. I do have a lot of interviews on there. some of my more favorite ones when I did with the guy who did Friday the 13th Part 6, which they shot here in Georgia. And he talked about his experiences of shooting in the sweltering heat, not realizing how hot and cold Georgia can actually be.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
A
Oh,
lot of people, it's a curveball when you come down here and it's like, whoa, when was that? What was that? And like,
oh
yep.
my gosh. And then the gnats, if you're below the gnat line. Don't even.
Oh, yo, like they do not. I did Lady and the Tramp in crap was it in Savannah, Georgia. And man, those gnats are like they come with boxing gloves. You're like, are you kidding? Like, are you kidding? Like, you get bit by one and someone's like, yo, were you in a fight last night? Your hand is swollen. And you're like, nope. Let me tell you about a mosquito. It's
Yeah.
like, it's
Imagine the
horrible.
hottest day of your life, and then there's 100 of these things in your
And
face.
you're trying to swat, but it's too hot. And you're like, I can't do it. And then you're like, they're like, put lavender on. You're like, is that helping? It kind of does, but not really. And you're like, oh,
You need to
like
just
it's
become a citronella candle. I think that's the best way to deal with it at that point.
it's brutal. And then like for some reason you're like attracted to staying there. And you're like, and then someone's like, well, why don't you move? And you're like, but I don't want to. And you're like, I don't know. And it's like, explain it to me, man. I don't get it either. But
Oh my
anyways,
God.
classic American movies, Instagram, and Bishop's Day. You can follow the progress that we're having on there. I just got an honorable mention for Best Director at the Night of Shorts, which
Congratulations.
is a an Italian film online film festival. And later on, I assume whenever this will be released, I'll already have the awards released that we won 3 awards in India.
Wow.
So
Incredible.
yeah,
Wow. Well,
so
thank you so much for your time here today and for talking about everything that you had going on with Bishop's Day and sharing your insights. We really appreciate it. For anybody watching, because I forget we have an audience, see Bishop's Day, August 14th through 17th at the Athens Film Festival. Tickets should be on sale now at athensfilm.com. Thank you so much for your time here today.
thank you, I appreciate it, man.
Yay.